Oh, boo, boo, boo. Welcome back, guys. I come back. I come back. I come bearing gifts. I'm just adding a comment so that whoever's joining us for the first time, they know what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to be re-adding Degracia onto our live. Then we'll just continue where we left off, right? Let's add her. I do apologize, guys, for the inconvenience. Joburg is cold, so my connection is not so great, but yeah, we're back. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Shem, I'm so sorry because it cut you while you had already started answering the next
Yeah.
question. I'm so sorry
No,
about
it's
that, but we're gonna
okay.
have
It's
to restart
okay.
again.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. So the question I was asking you was if you were given a chance to speak to your younger self, I was referring to like a 15, 16-year-old version of
Yeah.
yourself. What advice would you give them around business?
So obviously the first one would be for her to save.
Oh,
Save
yes,
her
I remember you
money,
said that.
save the business money,
Hmm.
just save, honey. Um, just save. And then the second one to be just put your blinkers on and trust in whatever it is that you believe in. And you always know what's the next step because you must never forget why you started. And that quietness that you
Mm.
had around the time that you started, you can always go back to it anytime you start to feel like you're distracted or you don't know what's
But
the next thing. Yeah. So
yes, yes.
and believe in yourself, babes. You are the boss that you think you are. You are so much, all of that that you think you are. You and don't be scared
Yes,
to
and much
stand
more,
in
hey?
that. And much more actually, yeah, and much more
Yes,
actually. And
yes.
just don't be scared to stand in it. Don't be scared to stand in whatever it is that you understand in and be bold and just be you, and people actually
Mm.
like you, believe it or not. So if you just be yourself, be bold, be fierce, and
Yes.
go for your dreams and your goals aggressively. Aggressively. That's what I would tell her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Lovely. Love it. Love it. I love it. Okay, the next one is basically this is for my viewers, so
Yeah.
think very carefully.
Eh.
So this is for my viewers. The next one says, I'm just gonna read it as is. I think it sounds better that way. It says, if there is a viewer out there wanting to tap into the business world, what
Mm.
advice would you give to them? Regardless, don't think about their age,
Yeah.
regardless of how much capital they have
Yeah.
to invest into the business. Just if there's
Mm.
someone out there wanting to tap into a business, into the business industry or the business world, what advice would you give them?
I would say get clued up on whatever industry or thing that you want to start. Regardless of the nature of it, there's always someone who's doing something either similar to what you're doing or who's in a position where you hopefully will get into that position a couple of years from now. So do your
Yes.
research, ask the questions, listen to podcasts. Just like if you're doing an assignment, you research. So whatever industry you want to get into,
Mm,
the business you want to start, do your research because that definitely helps you in terms of what will you need in terms of going into it. And always remember
yes.
that there's nothing wrong with starting small. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when you start small, it's a long game. It's not a short game, but it's a long game that's
Mm,
worth your while. So you're gonna have a couple of seasons, but the seasons can only bring about growth. And be okay with learning things on the job and not be so hard on yourself. There's things that you're gonna learn as you go that you can never learn before in terms of the research. You're never gonna find it.
yeah.
It's things that you
Yeah.
learn when you actually start to deal with people and you actually start to deal with whatever it is that you're choosing to go into in
Mm,
terms of being that business. Also,
yes.
listen to those people who can give you constructive criticism, whether it's the people that you're offering the service to or people who are in that industry, or people who have other businesses that are not like yours, but they have business knowledge. Because you can't just say, I'm only going to listen to someone who's in this industry. There's someone who can give you some great financial tips, some great tips in general of how to run a business operationally. Yeah, bo. So, like, those
Yes,
tips,
yes.
I think, are very key. If you're going to start any business, you can start small, believe in yourself, save. That should be written on my forehead, actually. Just
I
save.
think so
Save,
too.
save, honey. But I'm saying it for a reason. Save, and educate yourself and be okay with learning on the job. Be okay with that.
Lovely.
And you should
Okay.
be fine.
I'm just gonna summarize. I'm just gonna summarize that for whoever's like gonna join later on.
Yeah.
So you said first thing, save, right?
Mm.
Save. Be okay to learn on the job, which means you must be
Mm.
patient enough, be resilient enough, and be okay
Yes.
with making mistakes and understanding that you're not going to be perfect, right? And
Yeah.
then another thing you said was so be teachable and be willing to receive knowledge from people who know better than you,
Yeah.
and even if it's not knowledge from people who know better than you, but be willing to take tips from your customers, people around you,
Mm.
people in business who give you constructive criticism. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. So I think those are like the four main important things that you actually highlighted in this whole answer. And I think it actually is going to help a viewer at home somewhere watching, who's going to be watching the video, right?
Yeah.
The next one is a bit of a personal one.
Oh,
Um,
honey. Okay.
no, it's not love life, relax.
No, 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 no.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, it's chill. You can ask me anything personal. I'm an open book.
The next one is basically how do you manage your time? How do you balance everything out? Because you're a daughter, you're a
Mm.
friend, you're a sister, you're a businesswoman, you are you're doing your internship,
Employee.
you working, you're
Yeah.
employee, yes, you're
And I'm
employee.
studying.
How
Yeah.
and you're studying. So
Honey.
how do you build the balance to still make sure Uguti in whatever I'm taking this from the interview we had last year about
Yeah.
inequalities in business. You said something very important. You said whatever space you occupy, you must always understand why you're occupying that space.
Mm.
So I've just ran through the different spaces, that you
Yeah.
occupy as an individual. So how do you make sure Uguti, you are ready for each space? How do you balance that out?
Yeah, that was a bit of a tough one, but I'll answer it as best as I can. I think
Mm,
one of the most important thing is to be present in whatever space you're in and serve that purpose in that space. So if I'm now with
mm,
my mom, I'm a daughter, I need to be present in that space.
yes.
So when I move on to the
Mm,
next space, I've done my job for that daughter role. If I'm an employee, when I'm at work, I'm at work. I can't be doing anything
yes.
else. Yabo. So for you to be
Mm,
present in the space and execute whatever you're there to execute, it gives you
yes.
time to do the other stuff, whether it's self-care, whether it's just a lazy day, but you gotta earn it. It's not like in the calendar. You earn it through doing all these other things that you need to do, being the employee, being the sister, being whatever. Then you get that time. There's no just I'm randomly planning today I'm take a day off car. Because the list gets bigger. You think it gets smaller, but it gets even bigger. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes, definitely.
being present in the space that you're in, time management, time management, time management.
Time
So
management.
yeah, if anyone knows me, I'm the type of person where if we say we're meeting at 2, from 2 we're meeting at 2, go 3, I'm leaving. If you're not there, I'm leaving at 3 because you're stealing time from the next thing I'm supposed to be doing, which is going to put me behind schedule. You understand? So if
Mm,
your time
mm,
is something that's very precious, your time is something that you have to realize is very precious. If you want to enjoy all the
yes.
things of life, you have to have a good time management. Yeah, and that's obviously something
Mm,
that with new levels that you get to and more things you take on, your time needs to be better
mm,
managed. Yeah, and it also
definitely,
calls
yes.
for sure, for sure. And it also calls for doing things when you don't want to do them. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work sometimes. I don't want to do the things that I want to do, but I have to do them. And I feel like,
Girl, because you sit back
honey,
and you're like, hey, I don't want to do it. But then at the back
oh
of your
my
brain,
gosh,
that girl is like, if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you?
who's
And then
gonna
you're like,
do
okay,
it?
let's get out
I
of
have to
bed.
do
We
it.
might as well.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, Bon.
Yes,
And with everything that you take on, it requires more from you. You think it's less, it
yes.
requires more from you. Yeah, Bo. So in those spaces,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be always conscious of what is required from me now. I can't have the same time management that I had when I was a student. Yeah, Bo. Now I'm working and I'm a student and I'm
Yes,
whatever. My time management has to change. What I need to do needs to change, and more is required from me. And
yes.
sometimes I don't always get it right. You know, a Monday can
Mm,
be a disaster, but then I always have to, the next day I wake up, it's a fresh start. I can't be hung up on what I didn't do on Monday. Yeah, but it's about what can I do
yes,
today? What
yes,
can I do for the rest of the week, and stay focused on that. Yeah, but and
yes,
just also I
definitely,
think
definitely.
yeah, and I think also just being quite open and honest with the people who are important, who are in your life, in terms of what's currently on your requirement list, what are you busy with, and also tell them the realities. I would love to spend the whole day with you, but I can only give you 2 hours, and in that 2 hours, that's the best that I can do. And people who love you and understand that you got a lot going on will understand that. You understand, and they'll kick it. Oh, she's actually
Yes.
taking time out of a day to see me for this 2 hours. She can't spend the whole day
Mm,
with me because I got things to do. You know, we're young, we're trying to build. There will
mm,
come a time where you can spend the whole day doing nothing. Ask Arafi. We haven't gotten there yet. So any
no,
stage in life that you skip, it will find you in your 30s and your 40s. And now you're having to do what you should have done in your 20s, in your 40s. You understand?
exactly.
So for me,
Yes.
that's just how, you know, I try to find the balance. Sometimes there is no balance. That's just for the season. It calls for no balance. There's nothing you can do
Yeah,
about it, you know, and you just keep going
exactly.
on. There's nothing you can do about it, Yabo. Yeah, so that's,
Mm, mm,
you know, sometimes it is what it is, and you just do what you have to do.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
I'm just gonna summarize your answer again, just so
Yeah.
we make sure I got all the important points. So first
Mm-hmm.
thing is, you must understand the space that you're occupying and what's required of you in that specific space. And then once you do that, and you must also then be present and do just that,
Mm.
right? So that if you're moving on
Yes.
to the next space, I don't owe anyone anything now. I've done my
Mm-hmm.
parts and we can move right
Yes.
along in life, right? And then
Yeah.
the next thing you touched on, which is also very, very important, is you must manage your time properly. And you
Mm.
touched on the fact that unfortunately, as we're growing, you are getting better, but more is required of you, which
Yeah.
means you need to give more. Which means you need to then manage your time better. Love it.
Mm.
The last question, actually, it's the second last question. I have a bonus question that I didn't send you.
Okay,
Um,
it's fine.
should be fun. I thought about it this morning and I was just like, you know what?
Honey,
I just have to add that question.
it's okay.
The last question that we have from the interview is basically, how did COVID affect your business? We've been in COVID for over a year now.
Mm.
So how did that affect your business, if it did in any way? Because, well, I know for a fact you're not in a mall. You don't have a shop in a mall. You
Yeah.
just basically based online. But
Yeah.
did that affect you in any way? And if it did, how did it affect you? And maybe if you have a lesson you learned from it, what lesson did
Mm.
you learn that someone can actually learn from who's watching at home?
Okay. So COVID had its good and its bad impacts, obviously on a personal basis, but also
Mm,
on a business scale. So for me,
mm,
I had to deal with a lot of orders being delayed and customer anxiety about things that they've paid for, but they're probably not going to get on time. And during that,
mm,
yeah. So during that space, I have to I'm not going to say reduce myself, but I have to think as a consumer, what are the things that I would want to hear? What are the things that I'm stressed about? And how would I best want this person who I've given my money to handle the situation? Yeah, but so
yes.
with that, I had to think like a customer and I had to be like, you have to give them daily updates. You have to communicate, send them the tracking numbers, send them where the parcel is at. Tell them that you don't text them, call them. Because if I text you something, I could have just been like, your order, I think it's on its way. But if I call you, how are you? I'm personalizing the situation. We're all going through COVID. We all stressed,
Yes.
but I'm trying my best to make this thing work. So I'll call you and I'll have that chat with you. Guti, this is what's going on. Thank you so much for your patience. That was highly emphasized. Thank you
Yes.
so much for your, although it was out of my control.
Mm. Okay, we're gonna re-add with Degracia in a bit again, guys. Network connection. We're almost done. Almost done. Thank you so much for patience so far. I'm just gonna wait for her to join in again. But the question we're answering that she's answering at the moment, she is just answering how COVID affected her as a business. She's going to be joining us just now. Hi, back again. Can you hear me? Let's try that again. Guys, last question, yes. Last question, and then we're done. And then this network can act up again. Last question. I think while we wait for her, I'm just gonna kind of just run through important things that we discussed with her. The first one that was important was that you guys must save. For you to be able to start your business, you must save, save, and save. The second one is you must be willing to be teachable. So you must be willing to learn and you must be willing to be teachable. So whoever's around you in your space, it could be someone who's in business, could be someone who's your customer, your new customers and stuff. Be willing to learn from them. Take what's constructive criticism. Be willing to take constructive criticism from them and actually apply that into your business so that you can grow and so that you have a sense of direction. And she said something very important. She said you must make sure that you know your why, and you must always know why you're doing things. And I think another thing that she touched on was basically, if you want to be successful in business, you must also be willing to sort out the problem in terms of finding what the problem is and have a solution for that specific problem. I'm going to see if we can try and add her again onto the live. We are literally doing one last question, and then we'll be done, guys. So our lives, I'm going to have two videos for the lives. The first one is just going to be a part one, and then the second one. We're just having some technical difficulties, which is why things are a bit slow and a bit tough. It's a bit of a tough one. Let's see if we can add her again onto the live. Okay, I'm gonna end the live and I'm just gonna ask her to just add a comment on how she managed to keep her business up and running. Okay, I think we can add it again. Let's try that again. And let's see if that's gonna work. Fingers crossed. Okay, no, it's fine. I'm going to ask her to add a comment. She's going to write me out a comment in terms of what other, I'll just ask her to write the top 3 things that helped her to keep her business up and running during COVID and even now. And then I'm also going to ask her to share either a book or a habit or practice or a quote that keeps her up and running and pushing in business. I love you guys absolutely a lot, and I thank you so much for joining us. I am going to be saving both the IG videos. I'm not going to be sharing them on my Instagram because I have a YouTube channel for that specifically. So I will be adding the videos onto my YouTube channel. Do enjoy them. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share. And I'm also going to add her details in terms of how you can contact her to place an order, how you can contact DHC if you want to check out their products and what they basically do. Okay, I love you guys a lot. It's goodbye from me for now. Have a lovely day further.